This video is sponsored by Squarespace. This is what your backpack says about you, because you wear that thing a lot. You can tell a lot about a person from their bag. If you own a Jansport backpack, then you are trauma bonded to this fucking bag. Like, you've had and used this backpack for like 14 consecutive years. This thing has seen algebra, college, unemployment, employment, and then unemployment again, and somehow your Jansport, it's still here. There are over 10 years of pen stains on the inside pocket of this thing, and I feel like in those 10 years, you've probably never washed it. If you own a North Face Borealis or Jester backpack, then you carry medication in your bag for like just in case scenarios, even though you've never actually had to pull out any of this said medication in your bag, but you just keep it in like one of the different compartments you have. You also have a portable charger in here, at least one, maybe two. Why the do you need two? I don't fucking know. Possibly you have a carabiner in here, electrolyte tablet, maybe a banana, you know, maybe a natural protein bar, like a protein bar made of only like whole food natural ingredients. If you own a Fjällräven Kånken backpack, then you're a girl that likes to drink iced matcha and you own at least one tote bag with like an obscure bookstore on it. You like to use the phrase little treat a lot, like unironically, like after a hard day, you deserve a little treat. I deserve a little treat. Also, I feel like you probably organize your bookshelves by rainbow color. I'm like 90% sure about this, but also this setup is kind of annoying because it means that like none of your authors are together. So like organizationally, it is kind of a disaster because if you want to look for something, you need to like remember the spine color of the book. If you use a random free corporate backpack, then you did not choose this backpack. You got it for free at an event. Now you're in like a long-term, emotionally detached, semi-quasi relationship with Deloitte Digital Summit 2019, which is also exactly how it feels dating anyone who works at one of these places. Bonus points if you use this backpack to hold pens, which you also got for free from other corporate events. And since we're on the topic of corporate merch, here is a list. I want to share a list of corporate merch with you that I've seen online, starting with the Deloitte Amazon Echo, Deloitte Rubik's Cube, this company that gave out Basil as gifts apparently, KPMG Jordans, this one did fucking crazy in my group chat, the BCG Patagonia vest, and finally this Palantir t-shirt, which they advertise as the Palantir Domination tee, which is a little bit on the nose. If you use a Nike backpack, then you're either number 1, 15 years old, number 2, you go to the gym, or number 3, both of these things simultaneously. You keep a ginormous water bottle in here, like it's fucking huge. I don't believe that you're able to drink all of that, but I might be wrong. What do I know? If you own a Herschel backpack, then you really like the idea of journaling and you want to fantasize and think about yourself as the person that likes to journal, even though you don't actually do a lot of journaling in your personal life. You probably have at least one untouched online course that you like signed up to but then never watched, like sitting in your bookmarks, like an edX course or like a Harvard X course or like some you signed up, you watched it for a single day, but now you're getting like email notifications from them every week being like, oh, welcome to week 6 in your course. And it's just clogging your inbox and it's stressing you out because you're not doing it and you're pretty sure you're not going to complete it. But also you feel like if you delete the email or like actively unsubscribe, then that's also too far because it means you're taking like active steps not to learn, right? And you're deciding on giving up on learning, which is not you. You don't want to do that. It's just, you don't have the time right now. You'll put in your calendar, you know? You'll schedule a time to do it. But instead, you spend the next 20 minutes formatting said calendar in your Muji notebook, and you think, that's enough work for today. You set your Muji notebook down on your desk, next to your hydro flask and your unread copy of Atomic Habits, which you will also read eventually. Okay, I know what you're thinking. I just don't have time. Okay, I just don't have time right this instant. If your backpack is a shit ton of like pins or keychains or plushies attached to it, then I feel like there's more than like an 80% chance if someone starts singing the lyrics to Hamilton in public, you'll just join along. Like your sleeper code was activated. Like if someone slightly mumbled one of the lines to Hamilton, then you'll just respond with the next line with like full gusto. Like this is like a call and response musical theater bit. If you use an Osprey backpack, then I feel like you know how water purification works. Like you could walk me through how to like safely harvest and drink water if I'm ever stuck in the woods. Also, you love interrailing and telling people how much you love interrailing. You also love straps, like lower back support, because every Osprey backpack has enough adjustment mechanisms to like safely secure a refrigerator to your torso. If you own an Arc'teryx backpack, then you are either on your way to the indoor bouldering gym or you're answering Slack messages on your laptop. Possibly both. Possibly you're in the indoor bouldering gym and answering Slack messages on your laptop. You also walk extremely fast. Like, you're really on your way somewhere, you know? The indoor bouldering gym. Because you have the off-peak membership, and there are cutoff times to the indoor bouldering gym because your broke ass can't afford the full membership. You also like to recreationally browse the weather app on your phone. If you use a Uniqlo backpack, then you almost definitely also shop exclusively from Uniqlo for all of your other clothes. And you also buy multiple versions of the same item because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Also because you think shopping is exhausting and Uniqlo just has everything, you know? Like, they got all the basics. Reliable, simple. I respect it, honestly. You wear a lot of gray and beige, but sometimes you'll switch it up with like a moss green or like a mustard yellow. If you're really feeling adventurous, then you'll throw in like a dirt yellow in there. If you wear a Lululemon backpack, then I feel like you've once considered or have actually made a TikTok of yourself from POV format where you're like walking down the street in a big city with like narration playing over it that's like, this is why I find dating so hard in your 20s, etc. Or if you've not made that TikTok of yourself, you've at least watched and saved like 30 of them. Your notes app contains lists with titles like habits, goals, things to get back on track. All in lowercase, obviously. Bonus points if these same titles you've made into like little Instagram story highlights, all in lowercase again, obviously. One of these story highlights is you in spin class. That's just a given. If you own a Patagonia backpack, then you either work in tech or you climb recreationally, or both, God forbid. I feel like you own merino wool. You're a man that knows what merino wool is. Also, even though you work at a huge corporation, you do think that corporations should do better environmentally. Like, I know I work at one, but I can also criticize them fairly, you know? But like, you feel like they should do better in the sense of like company ESG. And also, you know what ESG stands for. I hate that I know what ESG stands for. What the f do I do with all of this corporate jargon I have in my head that I don't fucking use now because I'm a fucking YouTuber? If you own a Carhartt backpack, then you romanticize not having a normal job or like being too creative for a corporate job, despite not needing to work to survive, because you and I both know that your dad is the one who's funding your woodworking / metalworking studio. Business is not going that good. You like to stand with like your hands in your pockets a lot, and you also like to smell coffee beans after you grind them. You grind your coffee beans yourself. You own a coffee grinder. You wish you could visit Japan and go to that coffee shop that sells the coffee that was like aged 29 years, but you don't have the funds for that right now. But once this art practice takes off, you know, any day now. Hi, if you've watched this far into the video, like you're almost 10 minutes deep into a video psychoanalyzing backpacks, then you're probably at least somewhat interested in identity and your self-image. Not necessarily because you're insecure, but because you're a human being and everyone wants in some way to be understood correctly and to communicate something about themselves. And if you're alive in 2026, you're probably doing it on social media. But the annoying thing about social media platforms is they don't actually let you present yourself how you want. So for example, Instagram is for hot people, LinkedIn is for professionals grifting for jobs, and Twitter is for rage bait, etc. Which is why I like having my own website, because you're not constrained aesthetically or functionally by whatever the platform gives you, and you're also not beholden to whatever algorithm or also hidden social norms of like what people are doing on the platform. With Squarespace, you can create a website that's completely your own. You can put whatever you want on it, whatever aesthetic you want, and best part is you don't actually need to know how to code to make one. The easiest way is to use Blueprint AI, which will build your site entirely for you based on what you want the site to be on. But if you're old-fashioned, you can also build your own website by choosing from a huge range of templates, and for either option, after the site is up, you can still go in, customize, change whatever you want, but they give you two really easy jumping off points for how to start. Another thing I like about Squarespace is the visibility function, so every website on Squarespace comes with built-in SEO tools to help you with visibility on different search engines. But one thing that makes them special is they actually have AI visibility tools, so what that means is like you can track if you Google, for example, like your name on ChatGPT, it'll show you what the brand, like what your brand looks like on these different platforms. So if you want to give it a shot, head to squarespace.com/crystal for a free 14-day trial. And when you're ready to launch, save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using code CRYSTAL. If you're an Adidas backpack, then you have a Spotify playlist that you made called Winter Arc or Beast Mode. God forbid it's called Beast Mode. You've considered starting a gym Instagram, but like, you're a little bit shy about it. And you don't like that I said that you're shy about it. You're just considering it, you know, because it's a lot of work. You're only going to use the gym Instagram to track your own progress though, of course. You'll think about it. You're circling the idea. It's like you're circling the idea in your head. If you wear a Vans backpack, then you are 17 years old. You're sleepy. You're always in hoodies. You're probably sleepy wearing a hoodie right now, possibly watching this in bed. Also, you're the type of person that like when you laugh at something on your phone in public, you immediately try and like neutralize your face so like no one thinks you're weird. If you own an Eastpak backpack, then this is similar to the Jansport, but you live in Europe. You approach this bag in the same way that you approach all the different items in your life, which is, if it works, you're not going to replace it because you've had this bag in secondary school, you're using it for university, you may be going into your first job, and you still have this fucking Eastpak, you don't care. If you use a Matein or like an Amazon Basics backpack, then you're a university student or you're at your first corporate job and you bought this backpack because it has like a built-in USB port and like 900 fucking compartments. You don't even own that much stuff, but maybe you'll use all of them. And all of the Amazon reviews, such good things about this backpack, you know, it just seemed like the right practical decision, you know, because you are the type of person that will watch review videos before buying things that cost like $12. But it's not your fault, okay? You just like making the well-informed, correct decisions about everything, including your backpack, even though it's dripless. Also, I feel like you keep empty shoe boxes or like Amazon boxes in your room, like just in case you need storage, even though you don't. If you own a Swiss gear backpack, then you bought this bag because you pride yourself on being an incredibly utilitarian, practical person. But deep down, you might not know it consciously. You trust products more if they just look slightly ugly. Also, I feel like you compare products compulsively. Like you'll spend 3 weeks picking out a rice cooker. If you use a Salomon backpack, then you like to dress like you're simultaneously able to run an ultra marathon, but also stand outside of a wine bar. This is the fine line that you try to walk in your style, you know? You probably own a pair of teeny tiny sunglasses, which you keep in this bag next to your Zin, which you say helps you focus and that it's not that bad for you guys, you know? Like Zin is not that bad for you, you know? I know it causes gum cancer, but like it's healthier than smoking or vaping and it helps me focus, okay? I need it for work. I just use the Zin for work, okay? Honestly, it's not that bad for you. If you use a Bellroy backpack, then I feel like loud noises scare you. Like you make an active effort not to slam the door because the noise is frightening to you. Like you're the type of person that would really want to be the type of person that eats an acai bowl in the morning, but you don't because you're scared of the blender noise. If you own an Air backpack, then you've definitely downloaded an app to optimize a process that didn't need optimizing. And the app doesn't even fucking work that well, but you won't admit it to yourself. I feel like you take a lot of vitamin supplements, which you call your stack when you're taking your supplements. You're like, oh, I'm taking my stack in the morning. If you use like a rainbow co-op hiking backpack, so like Cotopaxi, REI, Quechua, MEC, if you use one of those backpacks, then you're really into soup or broth. You could have soup every day. You might keep some soup on you in a thermos that's like plastered with stickers all around it. I feel like you had a treehouse growing up, which is the dream of all children, and now you're like a well-adjusted, beautiful soul adult with a rainbow bag because you had the nurturing and loving childhood full of tree houses and bird feeders and like a tire in the backyard as a swing. I'm fucking jealous of you. I'm seething with jealousy of you and like your beautiful grass childhood. I'm absolutely green in the face with envy. If you own a leather backpack, then you're very taken by the idea of like timeless fashion. Like you're always watching like classic timeless fashion YouTube videos, you know, and like trying to curate your timeless fashion wardrobe capsule. You know, you're always trying to find the perfect white tee because all timeless fashion influencers say that this is a timeless fashion staple item, you know, the perfect white tee. And now you have like 17 open tabs on your laptop for different perfect timeless perfect white t-shirts ranging from like $30 to $300. And to be honest, you will never admit it to anyone else, but in your heart of heart, like in your brain, you're not really sure that you know the difference between these different t-shirts and you can't really hold them and feel the fabric because you're online shopping. And so now you're trying to like, you're just basically toggling between these 17 different tabs of like the perfect white t-shirt, which got into your head. In your opinion, they look identical. You just read the description about what the different kinds of organic cotton are, the GSM. You're not really sure what GSM is. You think the higher the better, you're pretty sure, but God forbid you are looking for a leather jacket, because a person trying to buy a leather jacket, have mercy, okay? This is a nightmare because there are so many choices to make, and this needs to be perfect, you know? Because it needs to be timeless in my classic capsule wardrobe. If you use a Longchamp Le Pliage bag, then you feel a spiritual connection to France. You're not French at all. I know, because I have a breakdown of my audience demographics, but you're not French. But you really wish that you could go to Paris, even though I feel like if you went to Paris, you would be let down by Paris. But you're practicing your French anyway, which you're learning on your own, possibly on Duolingo. You've got a streak that's like over hundreds of days long. You'll know French soon, you know? It's just a matter of time. Just keep doing Duolingo. If you have one of those like roll top Chrome Industries backpacks, then you like to bike to places even when biking is objectively the wrong transportation choice. Like you'll arrive somewhere and be like soaked and wind blasted, and you'll still tell people that it was better because you arrived faster, you know? You like to tell people that the bike is faster a lot. Like this is one of those talking points that you like to bring up. You secretly enjoy adverse weather conditions because you feel like it makes your commute feel cinematic. And if you're being honest with yourself, you derive moral superiority from being able to endure terrible weather conditions. If you use a Wandrd Prvke backpack, then you like to self-mythologize, but also you're too aware of your self-mythologizing, and that kind of ruins it. So what do I mean by this? So for example, if you're sitting on the train, you like to like look out the train window while listening to music because it makes you feel like the main character of an indie film, right? But then you become aware that you look like the main character in an indie film, and you can stay in the moment of like enjoying looking out the window because now your mind is thinking about like how the shot would look of you looking out the window, like melancholically. You're imagining like the third audience perspective from the outside of you looking at the window melancholically like character in an indie film. You also film a lot of B-roll just because the moment was beautiful, you know? But you don't really know what to do with all of it. You never look at it again. It kind of just like takes up storage on your hard drive. If you own a black diamond backpack, then I'm gonna rattle off some names. Your friend group has at least one person named one of the following names: Luca, Finn, Theo, Milo, Elias, Rowan, Leo, Felix. You know a guy that has one of these names, or that's your name. If I got this right, that would be a fucking crazy play. You have to comment it if I got this accurately because that would be fucking hilarious. But even if I got that wrong, even if none of you have those names, at least one person in your friend group was backpacking in Southeast Asia last year, for sure. If you use a Samsonite backpack, then you are spiritually at the airport even if you're not traveling. As in, you always arrive to things aggressively early. Maybe you keep a little baggie of like mini-sized toiletries in your bag at all times. I feel like you would do that. Also, you're the type of person that's like always instinctively checking for your phone and wallet, like sticking your hand in your pocket when you're commuting just to touch them and like make sure they're there. If you use a Tumi backpack, then this is basically the Samsonite person where you're very airport coded, but instead of being in economy like Samsonite, you're in business class because this is the backpack of someone that has like a premier credit card that gives them lounge access. If you use a Fjällräven 28, then this is the evolution of the Kånken backpack for like after you leave school and you're forced to make a LinkedIn profile. You feel like the whimsy and your lust for life has been beaten out of you and forced you into this box fitted with a laptop compartment, which is so practical. If you own like a luxury brand backpack or like the Prada nylon backpack specifically, then I feel like you dress very fashionably in your everyday life and you would prefer to have a handbag on you, but you have scoliosis or like back pain from only having one strap on your bag all the time. And so you were kind of forced to get like a backpack for physical health reasons. But you've seen all the other bags on this list and you think they're fucking hideous. So you thought Prada, at least it's Prada. You think it's practical and it's still luxury, but secretly you wonder if like people will think you're too mainstream for having this bag. If you use a drawstring bag, then you are going to gym class and you're 14 years old. There is no other reason to be using a drawstring bag. You keep your sports shoes in here. If you use a drawstring bag outside of this exact context, then you need to get a new bag. If you wear a tiny mini backpack, then you consistently underestimate how many things you'll need when you're going out. Like you've definitely had this on before and then been like, I didn't think I would be out this long because all you've got in this fucking bag is a lip balm, your phone, which you forgot to charge and is on 3%, maybe your keys, maybe if you remember to bring your keys. But if you didn't, that's okay. That's future use problem. If you own a Baggu backpack, then you're a Gen Z woman, and in this bag, you keep a digital camera, lip balm, and like 4 crumpled receipts from you don't fucking remember when because you never cleaned this fucking thing out. Also, I feel like maybe you have like a teeny tiny little plushy keychain in your bag, either dangling off of your bag or like inside of your bag, which you just like reach in sometimes to like stroke it with your hand for emotional support throughout the day. If you use an anti-theft or minimalist backpack, then you watch videos about scams recreationally. Like you've definitely Googled like pickpocket techniques in Europe. And also, I feel like you're a very interesting character, right? Because on the one hand, you are severely paranoid about being pickpocketed or robbed, hence the backpack. You might even have your phone on like one of those little keychain things, like those anti-theft chains. But on the other hand, you've also 100% fantasized about like thwarting a theft scenario in cinematic detail before. Like you see someone else getting robbed and you like swoop in and you save them, you know, like you've thought about this, and then like everyone on the street claps. If you use a CÔTE&CIEL bag, then it's your life's dream to be like a creative director somewhere. Or like a star architect that like walks around in like university student critiques and you just squinting and thinking and being like, interesting. Also, you never like to say that things are good. You always said that they're interesting. Like, oh, that's interesting. Also, you think that asymmetry automatically improves design, hence your bag. If you use a tech wear backpack, so like Orbitgear, Code of Bell, Alpaka, Mission Workshop, then this is just a given. You enjoy imagining scenarios where your very hyper-specific gear setup becomes useful. You also like to just stand on the street and like aura farm with your backpack on. You probably stand with your feet like shoulder width apart because it just looks cooler, which I agree. You really love the sound of Velcro. Like when you pull the Velcro straps of your bag and it just does like the noise, it's just so nice to you. It just tickles your brain. If you use a GORUCK backpack, then I feel like you're the type of person that will like regularly overestimate how many grocery bags you can carry in one trip. This is a regular occurrence with you and you never learn, but you will continue to do it anyway. Because a part of you either like consciously or unconsciously thinks that like hard experiences build character, you know? The hard experience here being too many grocery bags. Very heavy. You will never ask for help carrying these grocery bags. And if someone sees you struggling and like offers to help you, you will feel the flush of humiliation waft over you. If you own a military style or tactical backpack, then you've definitely researched knives without immediate practical need for knives. Also, I used to work at a cinema, right? Like selling popcorn and shit, or like printing people's tickets that they bought online. So I feel like if you were a customer at the cinema that I used to work at and you had to like read back to me your email redemption code, you instead of saying like, oh, so my code is like ACJQPWJ, right? You would say, oh, my code is Alpha Charlie Juliet Quebec Papa Whiskey Juliet. Like you would use the fucking military code thing. If you want a black Ember backpack, so when I was doing the research for this video, right, this seems to be like the most like quintessential Reddit man with disposable income backpack. Like it seems to be like the backpack that is the most mentioned in those best EDC bag lists, which I didn't realize it was a phrase for EDC. Do we need a word for that? Apparently we do. If you have this bag, you use Reddit, you have a Reddit account. I don't know what else to say. You want a titanium water bottle. If you use like a Japanese minimalist backpack like Muji or like Porter Yoshida, then I feel like you've deleted apps off of your phone before just because the icons look cluttered. Or at the very least, you're very stringent with like using the folders function on your phone. You use the folders function religiously. Also, you hate getting your things dirty or like scuffing your stuff. Like you take very good care of your things, but at the same time, if they're scuffed, like if you have something that's like properly scuffed, you like those items better because it's very wabi-sabi, you know? But that means that there's like a weird in-between middle where like if there's one dent in your water bottle but there's not like enough dents for it to like look properly scuffed, then you don't really know what to do because you don't want to like purposely scuff it up even more. That's kind of humiliating. Like that's poser behavior, you know? But like the single slight deformation drives you crazy and you don't know what to do about it. If you own a camera backpack, so like Lowepro, Nomatic, Peak Design, if you use one of these backpacks, then you film a lot of B-roll on the camera that you obviously keep in this bag. Possibly for YouTube videos that you will title, Why I Left the City. And then once you publish that video on YouTube, you immediately rewatch it to like try and see how the video would like come across if you're part of the audience, right? So you like watch the video and like try and get in the frame of mind of like, if I'm like a random person online that watched this, what would I think of it, you know? Like, does it give off the kind of like artsy type profound deep thought that I hope it gives off? Also, if you're using one of these bags, you never put your bag down normally. You're always carefully like rotating it on one shoulder or like very gently setting it down like a bomb disposal technician. If you have a rolling backpack, then I feel like someone makes fun of you for this. Like someone that is not me, like someone in your personal life makes fun of you, not just like a random person on the internet doesn't know you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this one, I made a ton of what your blank says about you videos, which you can watch in this playlist up here or watch this video that YouTube thinks you should watch next.